What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/TalesFromYourServer. This story's called The Time I Received a $2,000 Tip. Setting: Miami Beach, Florida. Late 2009. Seafood bar and grill, like a Key West version of a sports bar. I had this 40-something, sweet as pie, creative and smart regular who would come in with his elderly mom every Sunday and ask to be seated with me. We'll call him Jimmy. He was certainly on the spectrum, but a genius in his own right. He was a very talented painter. I'm sure he still is. Every Sunday, Jimmy would be sitting at my table, greeting me with an honest-to-goodness smile. Between managing tasks for them and other tables, I'd have incredible conversations with Jimmy about the universe and physics, about mathematics and art. I was very happy to have met such a great customer. I could tell he thoroughly enjoyed the company of a server who, 1, didn't find him strange and off-putting, and 2, who could keep up with his favorite topics of conversation. I had just started studying mathematics in college at about this time, and I'm also on the spectrum, but was undiagnosed at the time. I very much looked forward to seeing them each week. After about a year of this, one day he excitedly announced that his sister from New York was coming into town and that he's told her all about me and he can't wait to introduce us. He's convinced I'll love her, and I didn't doubt him. So next week comes, and now there are 3 sitting at my table. I can see this thin, elegant, yet earthy woman with gorgeous, wild, curly hair. Jimmy introduces her as Patty. She's oozing with charisma, and she definitely had a New York attitude. Short, to the point, no beaver sausage. But she was, you could instantly tell, very caring. Also intimidatingly smart. Not like the dreamy, colorful, wooey science stuff Jimmy and I liked, getting wide-eyed and excited to be able to speculate the implications of the double-slit experiment, though I'm sure she knew all about that stuff too, but like, savvy. Jimmy had been keeping up with my progress in school since around the time I had started. This was between semesters, and he knew that I picked 4 exciting classes for the following semester, more than I had ever put on my plate before. He had asked me about how I felt now that the semester was coming up. I was fresh, 19, no financial aid, no student loans, living on my own, working 2 serving jobs to pay rent and tuition. I was poor as frick. Sure, I picked those classes, but really, I was just hoping against hope that I could come up with the $1,200 I needed to pay for them. The deadline was fast approaching, and I had, just days before this conversation with Jimmy, Patty, and their mom, made the decision to drop 1, if not 2, of the classes so that I could afford the semester. Smiling and embarrassed, I told him that I'd be dropping a couple of the classes. He gave a frown and an "Aw," and I had to scamper off to go do server stuff. Between the refills and the food drop-offs and the cleanups, we all just continued chit-chatting. Patty casually asked how much my 4-class semester was going to run me. I told her, not thinking anything of it. The conversation naturally moved on. I run off again to serve other tables, and I come back to their table towards the end of their meal. Gabbing continues when Patty extends her hand out to me with a piece of paper. Instinctually, I grab it, and it's a check for $2,000. I try and give it back, tears in my eyes. She's not smiling, but I can tell she's perfectly happy, and adamantly refuses to take it back. New York no BS in full swing. I can tell she's serious, and I just sloppily thank her and run into the kitchen because all of a sudden my knees are jello. I plop on the floor on my butt and sob. Other staff are running towards me concerned, and I can barely tell them that it's not anything bad, that in fact, it's incredible through the crying. Eventually, I gather myself and I gave her a bit better of a thank you and said goodbye. I paid for and took all 4 classes, passed all of them with a perfect A. I bought a graphing calculator and a laptop too. I'm not a mathematician yet, but I'm working on it. And I'm not rich yet, but the moment I can afford to make this kind of impact on someone else, I will. Thanks, Patty. That's just incredibly wholesome. I don't know what to say. I love hearing stories of people forging relationships with regular customers, because something as trivial as going to a restaurant for a nice meal, you can make a pretty good lifelong friend. Because if you guys don't move and you like the food and you just go there, there's a relationship building, and that's always a sweet thought. And this woman who didn't even know our Redditor here gave this random person $2,000 for them to pursue their education, and now they hope to one day pay it forward, and that's a really good thought. This story's called I Ain't Order No Gratuity. Party of 10 walk in. They want hibachi, mostly middle-aged women with one young boy between 8 and 11 years old. They're loud and having the time of their lives, but we get the vibe right away that they might end up causing trouble. They are delighted to find out my coworker, who we'll call John, is waiting on them. John spends 6 days a week at the gym, so he is very fit and objectively, he's a good-looking dude. John is also something of a pervert and makes uncomfortable comments about attractive young women all the time, which makes this all the more entertaining. Naturally, John is getting a taste of his own medicine, and it's both horrifying and glorious to watch. I don't remember everything they said and did, but here's an example. One of these lovely ladies sucked the pink sauce off a shrimp and then licked some of it off her lip before breathlessly informing him, "Oh, I'd love to lick this sauce off your rooster." Remember how there's a child at this table? That's his mom. Somewhere along the way, John was so uncomfortable that he transferred the table to another server, a woman in her 60s. There ended up being some kind of miscommunication regarding the separate checks, so when it came time to pass those out, they were all wrong. The crap storm moves in. Now they're angry, and there's gratuity on the check, and since they have something to bench about, so help them, they're gonna bench. My manager goes over to the lady with the kid and is trying to talk her off the ledge while our server goes to sort the checks. It takes a while and they keep moving closer to the door. Tension breaks between the lady and my manager. "I'm about to smack the crap out you if you don't get out of my face." "Excuse me, did you just threaten me?" Manager ends up calling the cops. The server passes out the checks once more. She is literally shaking. I watch from the server station, far more amused than I probably should have been. Cops show up, and the women crowd him. He's able to talk them off the ledge, probably because he looks a lot like John, honestly, until one of the women that had been carrying on during the drama finally puts on her reading glasses and looks at the check for the first time. "Excuse me, ma'am, this still ain't right. I know I ain't ordered no gratuity." Happy ending, phrasing. They paid and left. The server got her gratuity, John left for his lunch after transferring the table, and got to come back from break to have a laugh about it over cigarettes. Sometimes I still remind John about that table and how karma may still bring those women back into his life if he goes too caveman. Frankly, John, I don't think you appreciate those comments enough, okay? If a bunch of middle-aged honeys wanted to say something... I'm sorry, I can't. Not that there's anything wrong with middle-aged women. No, believe me, there is nothing wrong with them. It's just those types of comments are inappropriate coming from anyone at a restaurant setting. Unless that restaurant is specifically known for that, then have at it. And you know what? I would be one to enjoy it, because attention is nice. I'm kidding, don't be perverted, unless you want to. Haha, mixed messages. Giggity giggity goo! This story's called Computers Crashed, Crazy Birthday Girl, and Partial Kitchen Walkout. Hi! So, I'm an FOH manager and had quite the shift tonight. So, our POS system has been, of course, being a POS recently. So, right at 4:30, right as we're doing shift change and going into dinner service, everything goes down. I'm running around like a crazy person trying to get crap back online. After 2 unsuccessful resets, we call our go-to IT guy, who miraculously is available and comes to bail us out. In the meantime, we have called all reservations to let them know about possible issues as far as making credit card payments, etc. We were worried for a minute that we might even have to close due to too much chaos. We are not experienced with the handwritten ticket system, don't have the old knuckle buster, etc. So our host said as much on the phone. We also have a 16 top reservation for 6 p.m., which arrives on time. Yes, this nonsense is still going on 1.5 hours later. I think my left eyebrow went completely gray tonight. Not looking, one of my amazing bartenders gets around going for them while we are still scrambling to get things back on track. He comps the round. They're having to stand a bit awkwardly in the lobby in front of the host stand, which kinda sucks, but also they knew what we were dealing with and they are sipping on free drinks. At 6:25, as we were about to seat them, have the table all ready, just need to put menus down, the birthday girl loses her crap. At one point, we were going to seat them in the upstairs section, but ended up switching things because of reasons. They had not reserved an upstairs table. We were just going to put them up there, which they unfortunately overheard, and we ended up changing our minds because it made way more sense to seat them in a perfectly fine downstairs section. For some reason, the birthday girl got absolutely irate at this change. I heard her going off at my host, so I went over to see what the problem was. She just kept pointing upstairs and saying that they were going to sit up there. I went over and explained that we had a table all ready for them elsewhere. She wasn't having it. Started saying they'd be going upstairs anyway and I better figure it out. Said she wanted to get out of this, which I assume means she didn't want to be standing awkwardly. I explained that we did not have a server working upstairs, but did, in fact, have a table ready over there with a server, no dice. Eventually, my lovely bartender from earlier comes over and gets them settled at the proper table. Good rapport goes a long way. The birthday girl did pretty aggressively shoulder check one of my servers, and the bartender ended up taking the table because everyone else refused to talk to them, but nothing burnt down, though the insane birthday girl did threaten it. Finally, before the dust had even settled on all that BS, the BOH guys got into some huge fight, and for a while, 2/5 of the kitchen walked out. 2 more went to find out what was going on and help defuse the situation, and so I jumped on the line for about 20 minutes while everyone got their crap figured out. Fortunately, I've worked BOH before, but not anytime recently, so I was slow as hell. Eventually, one of the guys came back and bailed me out. Then the others came back. One guy completely walked out of his job tonight, for such an incredibly petty reason. I still don't really understand what happened, but I guess I'll be illuminated tomorrow. What a stupid freaking night. Sorry, shoulder check server. Oh wow, this story reminds me of yet another hotel experience that was very frighteningly similar. And oh boy, was that stressful. Oh my god, there were so many problems at that hotel. So many. And oh my goodness, so many of them were just disastrous, apocalyptic level problems. Oh my god, I'm gonna faint just thinking about it, man. I hate hospitality. Alright, this story features one of the internet's favorite punching bags. Teenage vegan throws tantrum after she ordered a burger. Not my story, but my coworker. A mom and her teenage daughter came in to eat. Mom ordered our only beef burger, and daughter said she wanted the same thing. Coworker reread their order back to them to make sure. Daughter had an attitude the whole time and was being a brat to her mom. Food comes out, daughter takes one bite of the burger, and then the coworker goes to check on them. Daughter asks, "Is this the vegan burger?" No, you said you wanted the so-and-so burger like your mom ordered." "I'm vegan!" "I reread your order back to you." The daughter gets up, slams her chair into the table, and dramatically walks out of the restaurant. Mom, unfazed, sits and finishes her burger. Hell yeah, Mom. Hell no, Mom, what the hell? You're just gonna allow your daughter to act like such a gosh darn diva? Back in my day, back in my day, we'd send people like that through the trash transporter that, teleports the trash into a nearby star system. In case you're confused, I hail from a highly advanced alien race. Oh, and don't get me wrong, not because she's a brat. No, because she's vegan. Blech. This story's called "To the Two Guys Who Stayed Past Closing." You suck! Background. The pizza place I work kind of in its own little area. We only serve beer and wine, and we are open till 9 during the week. I worked Sunday and Monday, and they were both slow nights, but they were nothing compared to tonight. I started the dinner shift at 4 tonight, and the other server comes in at 5. The night started pretty good, and I got 3 tables during the first hour. After my coworker shows up, she gets the next table that comes in around 5:15, and then not a single other table comes in for like an hour and a half, and I literally have nothing to do. It was so slow, we sent the host and pizza cutter home after them being there for like an hour and a half. Not long after, the girl working takeout also gets sent home since it was so slow. Finally, at around 6:45, I get a table, and not long after, I get a second table, and they're both gone by 7:45, which is when my last table of the night shows up. It's two guys, probably in their late 30s or maybe early 40s. I seat them and get them each a beer. I asked them if they wanted something to eat, and they said, "We're good, probably just gonna have some beers." Okay, fine. No other tables come in, and the last table in the dining room is gone by 8:30. I go to check on them at like 8:15, barely halfway through their beers, and ask if everything is okay, and they said, "Yeah, cool." Then they ask what time we close, and I said we close at 9, so they're good for time. So we sweep the entire dining room, and it gets to 8:50, and they get another round. I'm getting a bit worried at this point, since it took them like an hour to finish their first beer. My manager closes up behind the bar and sits at the bar and is eating his dinner, and the other server finishes her cash out. We sat there talking with the manager until like 9:30, and during this time, one of the kitchen staff clocks out and joins the manager at the bar. Another two clock out and leave, and we say goodnight to them. Meanwhile, these two guys are casually sipping their beers right behind my manager. Finally, they get close to finishing, and I ask if they're still doing okay, and they mull over getting a third but decide to get the check. And then my manager lets us start sweeping at the opposite end of the bar area from where they are. They pay and then sit there talking with empty glasses until 9:45. If you're going to go out of your way to ask when a restaurant closes, at least have the courtesy to not stay 45 minutes past when we close. Like, what is the freaking point of asking if you're not gonna respect it? It's so irritating, especially because the owner likes to close up early if it was a slow night, because it's a loss for him to keep his servers standing around until 9 if there aren't any orders in the kitchen. Both Sunday and Monday, we closed before 9, and we could have done that. Or at least closed at 9 and finished cleaning by 9:30 if these guys hadn't stayed for so long. This isn't the first time something like this has happened either. We had a few guys stay 45 minutes past closing, only getting drinks, and while we started closing up the bar and cleaning, they asked, "Oh, when do you close?" And we said, 45 minutes ago, and they just went, "Oh crap, no way," and stayed another 15 minutes. Like, you realize we have to clean everything after you leave. The owner has even restricted where we can sweep if there are still customers, because some people complained they felt like they were getting kicked out when we swept near them, when it was after we had been closed for like 30 minutes. Like, really? It drives me crazy. I wouldn't ever want to do that to restaurant workers. It totally sucks having to stay super late because customers won't leave. The owner or manager won't ever kick anyone out, but since they are known locally, people feel entitled to do what they want or stay as long as they like. Like, don't abuse that if they're trying to be nice, you know? Anyways, thanks for letting me rant. Oh yes, I can imagine that being extremely annoying. Holy crap. This yet again reminds me of a certain period of time within my hotel days. However, that is a story for another day. Gotta keep you interested. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.